when we say, I'm too busy to eat or I'm too busy to cook, that's really just you not making yourself a priority. So I
Ooh,
always just like to put that little mirror in front of my clients sometimes and help them understand that you deserve to eat. You deserve to take the time to
yes.
nourish your body.
Hey, friend, welcome to the Ready to Rise podcast with your host, me, Audrey Rose. This is the podcast all about taking your life to the next level. Join me on my journey as I create a life that I'm obsessed to wake up for every day. I hope that you are ready to create a life that you really, really love. Are you ready to rise? You guys, I'm so excited to have the lead dietitian for GutPerson on the podcast today. She's so amazing. Jillian Smith, she's a registered dietitian who has a focus in functional medicine for the gut. And like I said, she's a lead dietitian. She has a very personalized approach to wellness, which involves like the customized supplements, gut testing, health coaching, and all of this to help you actually turn your gut health around. Not just give you like medicine to, cure some symptom that you have due to gut health, and then like another medication on top of that one to cure the side effects of the first one, and on and on and on, right? This is actually a company who will help you with actual testing, nutrition, supplement interventions, and helping us heal from the inside, literally out. So you guys, as you will hear us chatting in this episode, you'll hear us chatting about certain things. And of course, the links are below. And I do have an affiliate code for them. It's Ready to Rise. So I know you're probably already checking out GutPersonal.com, and I'm sure you're already ready to buy a bunch of things. But listen to us chat first, because there are some things that are more important than others just to start out with. And you're going to hear so much, just like the quiz that they have and everything that they do to truly help you heal. Like, I'm a huge fan of making sure that we are healing at this very like nutritional, small like place, right? Rather than going full court press into all of the things that we think are going to heal us, but actually might not be healing us yet, right? The all or nothing approach that so many of us do is something that they're not necessarily promoting until you get to that stage, but they are very much like, here, let's start you with this. Let's start you with this other thing. Maybe we'll do a test. Like, you'll hear, she doesn't necessarily push the microbiome testing on us, because she's like, no, if you are so overwhelmed, then let's start you off with something smaller and start getting you pointed in the right direction. So a great chat about how nutrition and burnout are linked, how one can kind of help the other as we are on our healing journey, right? And again, I'm just such a big fan of them, all the work that they're doing, all the resources and research that they have, used to create amazing products that I use to this day. And again, I'm a fan of gut health. I'm a fan of it helping us to change our lives and turn it around. So without me rambling on any further, here is Jillian Smith, and let's dive into this amazing conversation.
So good to see you. I'm so excited for this episode.
I know, same. Really excited. We can just start by do you want to introduce yourself and just, your background, what you got you into becoming a registered dietitian in the first place, and all of that good stuff?
Yeah, I would love to. Should we just dive on in?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me. I mean,
Yes.
like I was saying, I'm just so excited. I've been looking forward to this conversation. It's going to be so much fun. So my name's Jillian, and I'm a functional medicine registered dietitian. And so with the functional medicine aspect that I take when I'm working with clients, really what my aim is to get to the root causes of symptoms and imbalances so that we can address it at the root. And really, I got into this line of work from personal issues that I had. So growing up, I always struggled with gut issues. I struggled with a lot of constipation. I remember it getting to be its worst back when I was in high school. I did a lot of competitive cheerleading in high school. And so feeling like crap and being really bloated and uncomfortable was not a vibe when you were doing competitive cheerleading. So it really started to impact my life in high school. Fast forward, I got into college, and that's really where my gut issues hit its peak. thinking back on it in hindsight, totally makes sense, right? I mean, my stress was through the roof. I was pulling all-nighters in the library. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating well. I was drinking more alcohol, all the things.
All the things.
It makes sense that my gut was an absolute mess, but it got to the point where it was quite debilitating. And I was having to cancel plans out with my friends. I remember being out on date night with my boyfriend and having to go into his car to lay down and massage my stomach because I was so physically bloated and in pain. And it got to the point where I couldn't deal. And so I went to the doctors and they ran all the tests. I got them the colonoscopies, endoscopies, everything came back, quote unquote, normal, right? You're the epitome of health. I know so many people can relate to that.
Right.
And so it was very frustrating, very disempowering because I knew something was off. I was going to school to be a dietitian. I was the healthiest out of all my friends, and yet I felt the absolute worst. So it was very, very frustrating. It started to form this big disconnect with my body because I was frustrated. I was angry. I didn't trust my body. I was just not in a great place. Fast forward to after college, I became a registered dietitian. I was working in an acute care hospital.
Okay.
And it just wasn't super aligned for me. I was seeing a lot of this prescribing a pill for every ill. That was really my personal experience when I was going. And I knew that some of those medications were just making people feel worse because they made me feel worse. And so I started dabbling into the functional medicine space around this time. I started learning more about it. It was very intriguing to me because it was really taking that root cause approach, which is really great for people like where I was struggling with these chronic ongoing issues. And so I absolutely fell in love with functional medicine. I did gut testing on myself, which literally stool testing, but it is the most empowering thing because that's what finally gave me answers. It showed me why I was so bloated. It showed me why I was having gut issues. And so I was able to heal my gut, rebalance my entire gut health. I now do this as a living. I help other women do the same thing. So I work in private practice. I work with clients. I do a lot of this testing, gut testing, hormone testing, nutrient level testing. And we also now have the supplement side of the company, which I'm sure we'll get into, but that's kind of my whole journey and how I got to where I am at.
Did you just say hormone testing?
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Is that also a poop test?
Nope. So the the hormone is a urine and saliva sample.
Wow.
It's incredible. Yeah. Very, very comprehensive. And so I do a lot of hormone testing as well.
That's so cool because truly figuring out what's going on at the root level is how we can truly heal. Like you said, we're so used to seeing that in clinic, right? Like there's a pill for this, there's a pill for that, like you're bloated, go take something. But actually changing up our diet, changing up those root causes is what's going to help us.
100%. And, I think that's really where the functional medicine space really shines is I do get into those foundations with my clients as well. The testing and the personalized supplements to address what's going on, so helpful. But also we can't forget about things like our nutrition, what we're fueling our body with every day. We can't forget about our lifestyle, how we're sleeping at night, how we're moving our bodies, how we're managing our stress. All of those things play such a huge role in not only our gut health, which is really where I specialize in our hormones as well, but in our overall health and well-being, our mental wellness, how we show up in life. It's all so crucial. And so I love the work I do because I know now more than ever, people need this sort of support.
Yeah, because definitely like I'm starting to feel just certain issues, right? And I'm like, wait, what's this from? What's this from? But when I do go to the doctor, just for myself, that's like, well, like, why don't we start this medicine? Why don't we start this other thing? And I just know that that's not actually helping me. I don't feel better at all. So yeah, it's getting back down to that level. And, I talk so much about burnout and other mental health issues. And it's true that what we're eating, what we're fueling our body with is what's going to help so much, like make a big difference, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
If we're anxious and then we're eating all this processed crap all the time or these like quick energy drinks or whatever, it's not going to actually help, right?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. And what's so crazy is when you're going to just your traditional doctor, and I don't want to, generalize this and make it sound like, oh, doctors are bad.
Right.
But from my experience, especially, I never once was asked about my nutrition, how I'm eating, how I'm sleeping at night, how I'm managing my stress. And, it wasn't until I got into functional medicine that I started learning about, oh, wow, me being stressed out all the time, being incredibly anxious about my symptoms are actually what's making my symptoms worse.
Yes.
And, just being empowered with that knowledge to kind of understand the connections, how intricately connected the entire human body is, that's really the secret sauce to better health.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Just putting it like, what would you recommend? So, when somebody comes in your office and they're just like, I am so severely anxious, but I'm also like a burned out healthcare provider or whatever. And like, I have no time for myself. And so that's why I go to Taco Bell every night for dinner. Like, what would you first suggest them to start with?
Yeah, truly right there. Nutrition is going to be a big one, but also I understand how it can get complicated with time. And, I'll have clients who are like, Jillian, I don't have time to cook a meal. I don't have time to go to the grocery store. And truly, one of my little caveats that I always say is when we say, I'm too busy to eat or I'm too busy to cook, that's really just you not making yourself a priority.
Ooh.
So I always just like to put that little mirror in front of my clients sometimes and help them understand that you deserve to eat. You deserve to take the time to nourish your body. But also, I get it. I completely get it. Right. And so finding ways that we can make things easier on ourselves. I'm a big fan of some good old grocery delivery to take that off of your to-do list for the week. There's some great companies now who are doing grocery delivery, or meal delivery is great too. There is no shame in asking for some extra support. And, if your only options are to swing by the Taco Bell drive-thru because you just don't have the time to cook a meal, do some of those meal delivery services to get something delivered to your door. Even things like DoorDash can be a great option, right? So nowadays, there really are some more options, and kind of figuring out where you can maybe leverage some of those to help take some things off of your plate can be a huge, huge help in that.
I love that. And I would love to touch on, I know that like the more you start to work with clients, the more specialized you get with what they truly need, right? But even for somebody just starting out, like say that they are going to order a quick DoorDash meal or, do something, but what's like a healthy type option you'd give for somebody before you're seeing all their tests come in?
Yeah, great question. So whenever I'm working with clients, I always start with some of the basics of a balanced meal, right? So whenever we're talking about a balanced meal, there's 4 categories that I love to keep front of my mind. So number 1, protein. Protein, so important, especially for us women. We need good protein intake in order to help our hormone production. It's going to help with your gut healing. Protein's really important. Number 2 is some carbohydrates. Carbs are not bad. It's so hard with diet culture, demonizing carbs, but carbs are an essential nutrient. It's how our body produces energy. So we need to be getting in those carbohydrates. We need to be getting in those fibers, those starches. So having your protein, your carbs, your healthy fats, fats are really important for our hormone production. It's going to help you feel fuller, longer. And then the 4th one is color. And that is our vegetables. So bringing in those vibrant colors, really, really great for feeding our microbiome, getting in those antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. So those are the 4 things to kind of keep in the back of your head. And when you're making an order at a restaurant or DoorDash, thinking about those things and say, okay, I'm going to get a protein source. Maybe you want to get some chicken, some steak, some salmon. Next up is your carbohydrates. Maybe you want to do some sweet potato or quinoa or brown rice. You want to make sure you get your healthy fats in there. Maybe you want to add in a little bit of avocado or some walnuts. And then, of course, your vegetables, whatever veggies you're in the mood for, they're all great for you. So throw them in, get them in the meal.
I love that you just mentioned like different types of carbs too, because I think because of diet culture, like you said, we all tend to think about like processed white bread when we think of carbs.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not, there's so many others, right? And many people do. They think about the white bread or the pastas, the pizzas, and it's like, oh, bad, 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 bad. And at the end of the day, there's so many other great carbohydrate sources out there. Anything like, our potatoes, our squashes, our grains like oats and rice and quinoa, and they have endless health benefits. And so they really are an essential piece to make sure that you're adding into your meals. And they just help you with, enjoying your meal, that satisfaction of the meal as well.
Because you know what else too is like this mind gut health connection is like huge. Like there's like a million books nowadays coming out on all of this. But just knowing that so many of our building blocks for neurotransmitters and all kinds of things we need for a healthy mental health is all starting in the gut.
Absolutely. The gut brain connection is so, so powerful. More and more research is coming out on this, which I get so excited about. And a lot of the clients that I work with, they actually come to me because they're struggling with things like anxiety. And a lot of times people don't realize that anxiety, poor mood, depression, these can actually be symptoms of gut imbalances. There are so many ways in which our gut health is connected with our brain. It's actually referred to as our second brain because they're so intimately connected. Our gut is responsible for making up to 95% of our serotonin, which is like our happy hormone in the body. So, of course, if your gut is compromised, you don't have enough of that beneficial bacteria to make that serotonin, of course, your mood's going to be impacted by that.
I love it. It's like Taco Bell is not giving us our serotonin. So yeah, we need to like look at this.
It really is. And
but we are not getting, yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So good. So where do you start? Like, I know you have things I can link below for like the testing and everything, but just starting with some tests to see what you're lacking in. Is that how that works?
Yeah, so the tests really, really are such a game changer. I mean, it's what completely changed my health, and I see it for every single one of my clients as well. So, like we were kind of saying in the beginning, I do a lot of gut testing. So, it is a stool sample, humbling experience, but oh my gosh, it's so worth it because we can actually dial in and see exactly what's going on in the environment of your gut. So it's very different than a test that you would get done at your doctor's. It's very different than a colonoscopy. It's looking at something completely different. I get a lot of clients who are like, what if my test comes back normal? And I'm like, trust me, I have reviewed hundreds of these tests. I don't think the perfect gut test exists, especially if you're dealing with any sort of symptoms. We will find clarity in your gut test. So we do a lot of gut testing so we can actually see your bad bacteria, your good bacteria, those guys that make your serotonin. We're looking at inflammation levels, which that can be another trigger to poor mood and mental health issues, as well as if you have a lot of inflammation going on in the body. So we're actually able to measure all of this. And once we have that data, we can then set you up with a plan of, okay, now that we know what's going on, let's start clearing out this bad bacteria. Let's get rid of these gut infections. Let's support your immune system and your beneficial bacteria. So it's kind of like your little cheat sheet, right? You get into the fast lane to feeling better because you skip all of that guesswork.
Yeah, it's so important. And like, again, with the cycle with burnout, it's like, you're so tired that you go hit up the Taco Bell and then you're like exhausted because of that. And I think so many people, if we stop and recognize that cycle makes us more tired, right? Instead of like,
Exactly.
yeah,
It is. And it's hard. It's super hard. The testing is really, really great, but I also am always saying we don't have to start at testing. There's so many things that we can do in just our everyday life, starting with things like nutrition. That can be a massive needle mover. Most people don't even need the testing. They just need to work on some of those foundational things. And so, like you were saying, with the burnout and the exhaustion and not feeling great mentally, nutrition and lifestyle, that's where you need to start for those sort of things.
Because I was actually thinking of it the other way, just like, no, we need to start right away with these tests so that I can see like where I'm lacking in and like get this whole tailored plan. But I love what you just said, because somebody who, when I think back to my severe burnout days, I didn't have the energy to go through all that. Like that seemed like even just sending off a stool sample feels like a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And for most people, you don't have to start there. When it comes to burnout and mental health, I, of course, stress management, that's a huge piece. Even before that, I like to talk about nutrition, because if we're not properly fueling ourselves and getting in the appropriate nutrients, it makes it even more difficult to manage our stress and do some of those stress reduction practices, right? So I'm like, let's start with nutrition. This is like a baseline, making sure that you're properly fueling yourself. So not skipping meals, not skipping your breakfast, eating every 3 to 4 hours, and prioritizing those nutrient dense foods. So getting in your proteins, your carbohydrates, your vegetables, all of those. That could just be a fundamental baseline for everybody. Get breakfast in. Don't skip breakfast. Don't have coffee for breakfast. And that can really be a massive needle mover.
Yeah, I love that right now. So good.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to something like breakfast, I'm always thinking about, where can we add in a little bit more, right? Where can we, so if you're having toast, amazing, but where can we add in a little bit of protein? So you can't do eggs right now. Totally fine. There's so many different ways that we can get protein in the morning. You could do a good protein smoothie. We could add in some cottage cheese. We could add in some Greek yogurt, some chicken sausage, and wherever we can just add in a little bit more nutrients, feels so much better than like thinking, what do I have to take out of my diet?
I love that. So good. Yep. And that's like, I love that. That's such a good analogy for life too right now, for like the person who's just exhausted and tired and is like, I don't feel good. I need to take everything out. I can't. It's like, no, like think of it differently. What can we add into our life right now? Like, how can I enrich my life to bring it more excitement?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that kind of goes the total opposite direction of like that diet culture, that hustle culture. It's everything, it's grind, 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 go, go, go. You need perfect diet. You need to never eat these things. And I take a totally different approach because it just feels so much better to think about, okay, what can I add in? Where can we add in a little bit more protein? Where can we add in some space to do some breathing? Where can we add in a little bit of journaling in your morning routine? Like, where can we add some of those things in instead of always taking out?
Yeah, I love that coming from somebody who's, so busy too, doing all kinds of things. So you're showing, you can do this. Like you can, if you can take a break and you can add all of this into your, lifestyle, then we should be able to also. The GutPersonal supplements I love. And right now my favorite is the bloat bundle. Like that, I've been doing that for a long time. I don't know, but I met you guys at Keisha's event, Empower Her in 2022. And since then I'm like, oh yeah, like this is my, I love this stuff. This is like my saving grace right now. But are there other, like, I know that you guys make sure that the line is actually suitable for people to kind of just jump into, right? Before you start personalization. So what would you recommend, like the greens, or like, where can we fill those nutritional gaps in with these?
Yes, such a great question. So yeah, when it comes to supplements, personalization is so key.
Yeah.
And the whole world of supplements can feel very confusing, overwhelming. There's a ton out there. Everybody has their own opinions about things. And so it can feel like, where do I even start? And so really our approach at GutPersonal, it's taking that personalized approach. And we recognize, this company was created based off of functional medicine practitioners, right? Both myself and our founder, Bridget, who's also a functional medicine dietitian, we've worked with clients for years. So we understand the piece of personalization when it comes to your health. And the same supplement, same probiotic, it's not appropriate for everybody. And so with GutPersonal, we're able to help people figure out, okay, what's appropriate for you? What is worth your investment so that you can start making shifts in your health and you don't just have this like graveyard of half empty supplement bottles laying all around your house.
Yeah.
So we created a quiz, and with this quiz, people can go through, it's free on our website, and it's super quick, about 3 minutes, answering different questions about your symptoms, your lifestyle, kind of where you're at. And using those answers, we're able to curate your own personalized supplement plan. So some people, their guts are a mess. Maybe you have a lot of gut issues, or you have a lot of symptoms that are going beyond just digestive, and maybe you're struggling with mental health issues. Maybe you're struggling with skin issues. Maybe you're struggling with autoimmune conditions. And we're able to give that more in-depth support to those people. Whereas some people might just be like, hey, I feel really good. I just know that supporting gut health is really important for overall health and longevity. And so I want to get on a good probiotic for that. And so we're able to cater to those different sort of people, getting you exactly what you need. We have different sort of probiotics. Good probiotics are good for different reasons. And so we're actually able to help people get connected with what they uniquely need. That bloat-free bundle, like you were talking about, one of my favorites as well. And it's really great for healing up your gut lining, reducing inflammation, and we can help people kind of seek out if that's appropriate for them.
Yeah, I love it. Like, which product, I know this is actually a really hard question. So but is there like a go-to product that you recommend for somebody that's just starting out, that like is literally eating like Taco Bell every night and like no gut health whatsoever?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
You guys, I have something so exciting to share with you. So I was looking back through my episodes and like what's been downloaded a lot. And it looks like one of the Sunday Scaries episodes that had a quick journaling tool to help you get through the sticky situation has been downloaded so many times. And I'm really excited to announce that I now am offering workbooks. So if you go to my website, they are short, they are sweet, they are simple, and they are not expensive. Just go to helloaudreyrose.com/workbooks, and you can actually get in to check out some of those fun workshops or workbooks, because I know that journaling seems to be a really awesome way to get through a lot of these processes that we are going through. And just having a short, quick way to do that is obviously amazing and easy and simple, and help you get through that real quick. And I also want to say that, I've been talking so much about this October retreat, but I've decided that this is definitely not the only retreat happening, right? Like, we are going to be doing quarterly retreats, maybe even more often in the future, but definitely 4 times a year. And so to stay in the know of all of that and find out the fun locations that they go and that they end up at, you can text retreat to 707-347-0723.
So the number one I recommend is magnesium. So we have one called the Miracle Worker. Every person needs magnesium. We are all depleted of magnesium. It's really difficult to get through food. And also magnesium is the first nutrient to go in times of stress. So for those people who are feeling burnout, anxiety, just a lot going on, you need lots of magnesium. And so the form of magnesium really matters. So don't just go to Target and grab any old magnesium off the counter, because some can make things worse. So the Miracle Worker, that's the kind that you want. It's really, really great for mental health as well, because it helps to soothe the nervous system. So it's great in times of stress and anxiety. It can help you sleep better at night. It can help with muscle cramps, period cramps, headaches. So definitely getting on a magnesium supplement can change people's lives, because we're all so deficient in it. So absolutely a magnesium. I'm going to add on a second one here, a good probiotic, especially for that person who is, going through Taco Bell drive-thru. You definitely want to support your microbiome, because if it's not getting the support it needs via food, we got to bring in a good probiotic. Really, probiotics are great for everybody, just because our poor gut health takes such a beating in everyday life and our modern lifestyle, our diet. All of our guts need a little bit of love. So getting on a good personalized probiotic that's right for you. And you can find which one's best for you by taking that quiz.
Perfect. I love it so much. I'm so excited. I will link everything in the show notes, but will you just tell us where everyone can find you? Like Instagram, is that the best?
Yes, Instagram is the best place. I am on there all the time. I always encourage people to send me a DM. I'm in my DMs all the time, and I just love connection. And so if anybody, has any questions or would love some support, send me a DM. I'm here to listen. And yeah, my Instagram is just jilliansmith.rd, and come say hey.
Perfect. And I'll shout out in the show notes too, and at the end of the episode, where some of the events coming up that I'm going to, that I know you guys will be there. So I'm super stoked about that. I love I love my bloat bundle shots in the morning with you guys, my greens. It's such a vibe. It's so much fun.
It's such a vibe. It's such a vibe. And just getting into a good wellness routine just feels really good in the body, right? Knowing that you're bringing in good nutrients into your body, it just feels good. I love having a good routine. And so getting on a good supplement routine is a great little hack just to help you feel better going into your days.
I was just going to ask you for a self-care or self-love tip, but that might even be it. I love everything you're saying.
Yes, honestly, that really is one of my biggest self-care tips, is getting into a personalized supplement regimen, because getting into some sort of routine around your health, and doing some of those personalized supplements can be a game changer for people, not only physically, because you're physically helping your physical body, but mentally as well, because you know that you're doing really good for your body, and it feels good to know that you're doing good for your body.
So good. And I want to just highlight that real fast, that once you start to actually individualize and figure out your personal supplement routine, work with somebody, because there are, like you said, so many things on the market these days, and you don't know if that's actually going to be right for you or not, if it's something that needs to be a little bit more individualized,
Exactly. And that's where a lot of people can just feel super overwhelmed with supplements, feeling like they're just wasting money, because they're like, is this even doing anything for me? My friend's taking it, so I bought it. I don't really know. And so actually working with somebody or getting those personalized supplement recommendations via the quiz, that's such a more of an empowering way to go about it, because you understand why you're taking everything, what it's helping you uniquely with. And that's really how people can start making shifts with their health.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Well, thank you so much. Literally, this has been so much fun talking to you. I could talk to you all day. And yeah, I'll be in your DMs with more questions later, right?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun.
All right. In case you missed it earlier, I will just repeat it one last time. The link for everything to access their products is below in the show notes. And the code to save some money on that is Ready to Rise. Have a blessed day, you guys. Write that written review if you haven't written one for the podcast before. It helps other people find us and all the healing tools that they may need to go further in their life and create a life that they're obsessed to wake up for, just like you're doing. I'm so happy you got to make it to another amazing episode of the Ready to Rise podcast. Don't hesitate to share this with a friend that needs to hear it. Send it straight to their DMs. Take a screenshot, throw it up in your stories, tag me in it at Hello Audrey Rose. And don't forget, if you leave a written review on the iTunes app, that also helps people find it. So if it resonates with you, help others find it. And I can't wait to hear how much you loved this awesome episode. Have a blessed day.